What you are about to witness is real.
Stand by for uplink.
Thank you.
We are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws.
Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous. When I took office, I committed to fixing this broken immigration system, and I began by doing what I could to secure our borders. But today, our immigration system is broken, and everybody knows it. There are actions I have the legal authority to take as president. And to those members of Congress who question my authority to make our immigration system work better, or question the wisdom of me acting where Congress has failed, I have one answer. Pass a bill.
And now, the Commander-in-Chief is back. Freedom Friday with Carl Gallups, the Oval Office of Gulf Coast Talk Radio.
Yep. Hypocrisy alert. Hypocrisy alert. Hypocrisy alert. Welcome back to the Oval Office of Gulf Coast Talk Radio. Welcome back, Gulf Coast. Welcome back, America. Welcome back, world. So that little drop you just heard coming back that JC just played, of course, you recognize those voices. How could you not recognize those voices? Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Democrats. Weenie liberals, particularly Obama. I mean, Clinton. I almost, during those 8 years of Obama, I almost longed for the days of Bill Clinton again. It was like, let him date Monica Lewinsky. Just put him back in the Oval Office. I mean, Barack Obama was so wicked and so wimpified. I mean, I was humiliated whenever he stepped out and represented himself as our president. Plus, of course, knowing what I know about the birth certificate and the deep stuff that goes behind that hasn't even been released to the public yet, I was further infuriated. So here we hear these two liberals, leftist weenies, Clinton and Obama, claiming that the borders and immigration is broken, and in Obama's words, and everybody knows it. Yeah, I know. And so Donald Trump says that, and he's excoriated by Obama, by the leftist. Obama said, so I'm going to strengthen the borders. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. We're going to kick people out. Obama said that. I didn't even play the whole clip. But of course he never did because he's a weenie liar. But Trump comes along and says the same things and then actually starts doing it. And he's going to start World War III. He's just the most horrendous thing. Calls for assassination around the world. A magazine in Ireland called The Village. Again, you can go to freedomfriday.com, Gallups on Facebook. You can see everything I'm talking about. If I make claims, you can go there, you can read the articles, you can look at the pictures, you can watch the videos. If I refer to anything, you can go to freedomfriday.com, Gallups, check it all out. I'm not just pulling this stuff out of my back pocket. In Ireland, a magazine called Village, very popular, has a picture of Donald Trump's face on the front with a rifle scope target on his temple, and underneath it says, why not? And then the article goes on to literally calls for the assassination. It's called tyrannicide. They're calling him a tyrant, and somebody should assassinate him. And it has a picture of his face, and the caption of the magazine article, the headline, the cover page, the caption is, why not? Folks, that's where we are. And a lot of it's over this border issue, and that's why we just played that drop for you to know that he's not crazy. Donald Trump has not lost his mind. Clinton said the same thing with passion, with anger. Barack Obama said it with anger and passion, and then got angry and said, and if anybody questions my authority to do so, I tell you what, pass a bill. In other words, he was saying, I'll show you my authority. I got a pen and a telephone. So Obama, but now the media is out there saying Trump doesn't have this authority. He doesn't have it. Only Obama had that authority. Only Bill Clinton. Folks, do you see the world in which we're living? Do you understand why I say I'm excited about Donald Trump, but on the other hand, I'm not super duper positive about how all this is going to play out? I mean, with world publications openly calling for his assassination, the globalists openly expressing their hate and vitriol, the United Nations sticking a thumb in our eye, and we fund the United Nations. If we shut our funding down today, they would collapse, but they don't care. Iran launching missiles. I mean, it just, folks, hang on for the ride. Speaking of hanging on for the ride, let me bring on Michael Shoesmith, who is the executive editor of PNN News and Ministry Network. I started to say magazine because I was talking about this magazine. Mike, I know you guys are busy over at PNN, but listen, so I've talked about all the bad stuff. Now you get to talk about the good stuff. There's a new science article out that's just astounding, and we can give a little glory to the Lord, can't we, Mike?
Well, actually, after the clip that your program producer played and your opening salvo here during my segment, I'm hoping that maybe you'll forgive me and just let me launch into my second topic here.
Yeah. Listen, you go ahead and do that, because I know that what I said invokes response. You see, that's what a good that's what a good talk radio host does. I mean, I say people are out there right now driving down the road, Mike, thinking, I wish I had the microphone because he's invoked response from me. But you've got the microphone, so you go ahead.
Well, listen, this was going to be my second topic, but let's go ahead and talk about this because it really does tie in well with what the clip from Obama and Bill Clinton, and then your comments on it. So let me just continue in that vein. There's a very curious, Carl, and somewhat frightening series of events which began last Friday, in fact, while Freedom Friday was playing at 4:42 p.m. Okay, so just immediately before Freedom Friday started, 20 minutes before the show, Donald Trump signed his executive order at 4:42 p.m., banning immigrants from 7 countries, which are known to spawn terrorists. Right. The order indefinitely barred Syrian refugees from entering the United States, suspended all refugee admissions for 120 days, and blocked citizens of 7 Muslim-majority countries, refugees otherwise, from entering the United States for 90 days. Those countries are Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen, right? Yep. Now, this list, Carl, it happens to prove that this is certainly not a Muslim ban, right, as there are many other countries in the world from which Muslims emanate. And the very fact that Barack Obama himself is still on American soil should be proof, a testament that Donald Trump has not banned Muslims.
There you go. There you go, brother.
Because even Barack Obama admits that he's a Muslim.
Yep.
He admitted that to ABC's George Stephanopoulos.
Yep.
So Donald Trump did not ban Muslims. He banned refugees from these 7 countries. And the list is also significant in that it was actually created by the Obama administration. This list of countries is just a throwback to the Obama administration. And, since we're on the subject of Obama, Donald Trump is merely fulfilling the promises of both Barack Obama and Bill Clinton to secure the borders, kick out the criminal aliens, stop the flow of illegals,
and we heard Obama say the border and our immigration laws are broken, and everybody knows it. Obama said that.
And we have that video evidence on tape at the ppsimmons YouTube channel, youtube.com/ppsimmons. But immediately following his announcement by Donald Trump, Communist Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, son of Fidel Castro's best friend Pierre Elliott Trudeau, announced that Canada would take these poor, desperate, rejected immigrants into Canada, thereby saving them from the big bad meanie in the big bad Oval Office.
Yeah, Mike, you're going to have to move out of Canada, brother.
I don't know. Listen, it's only going to get worse from here. The Canadian Prime Minister also said, this is the epitome of gall here. The Canadian Prime Minister also said that he intends on talking to Mr. Trump about the success of the refugee and immigration policy in Canada. Yeah. He's going to lecture your president. You know, there was a guy, I wish I could remember their names, and I could send that to you later, but there was a Canadian Prime Minister who did lecture a U.S. president, and when he finally was allowed to visit that president, he was nailed against the wall, and he was lifted up by the shirt collars by that president. I wish I knew who that was. But Canada has no business the American people, especially after all of this the terror attacks on U.S. soil.
Okay,
I mean,
but wait a minute. You made an allegation about a prime minister that was jacked up against the wall by an American president.
Right.
That really happened.
That happened. I have done that research. I don't have those names in front of me, but I can get those to you before the show.
Please do. I mean, that's interesting. But so we'll take your word for it, and then if you can back that up with a link or something, we'll post it. But if you can't, you can at least tell us. But anyway, keep going.
The very next day, after Trudeau said that he was going to take these refugees. The very next day, in gun-free Canada, a man whose alleged social working profile reportedly shows him as an avid Trump supporter allegedly walked into a mosque in Quebec City, Quebec, and allegedly opened fire with an AK-47, killing 6 people, injuring several others. That happened the next day.
Wow.
Like Sunday. That happened. There were also several reports of him shouting Allahu Akbar as he was shooting, but these reports were quickly scrubbed and replaced with the Trump supporter Islamophobia narrative, right?
Yeah.
So this all stinks. It just all stinks. The whole thing is, in my opinion, a great pro-gun story. In fact, I mean, imagine how quickly this whole thing could have been diffused if this Muslim worshippers could have had government permission to fire back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it does seem like this mosque is not a place that's full of hate. It's a moderate mosque in Quebec City, essentially, and there's a lot of haters out there hating on this mosque, putting pigs' heads on their front stoop there, and there's a lot going on there that I don't approve of. But listen to this, though. A series of shootings occurred October 22nd, 2014. This is a shocking story. This was only a little over 2 years ago at Parliament Hill in Ontario. At the Canadian National War Memorial, Michael Z. Half Bebo fatally shot Corporal Nathan Cirillo, a Canadian soldier on ceremonial sentry duty. So even these Canadian soldiers on sentry duty, they're disarmed. They have fake guns with no ammo in them. Then he entered a nearby Centre Block Parliament building where members of the Parliament of Canada were attending caucuses. So he's going in there. He's going to shoot up the place, right? Mm-hmm. After wrestling with a constable at the entrance, Bebo ran inside and had a shootout with parliamentary security personnel. So he goes in there where all the politicians are. These guys are protected, right? These guys are surrounded by men with guns because they're politicians. They're better than every other Canadian, right?
Right.
Now listen, what happened next? This terrorist was shot 31 times by 6 officers and died at the scene. The attacker was a 32-year-old Canadian habitual offender and drug addict from Montreal, considered by several acquaintances to have mental issues. He had been observed by acquaintances at his mosque, exhibiting erratic behavior. He had a Libyan Canadian father and had converted to Islam 10 years prior, and he had just visited Libya. So don't tell me we don't have an Islamic terrorist problem in Canada. We absolutely do.
And so what you're saying, well, the Liberals in Canada are going to really ratchet up your problem because Trump is being a man in America. And so the Liberals in Canada, the Liberal leaders are saying, well, you poor little Muslims, come up here with us. And so you're saying that when the poor little Muslims pile into Canada, then Canada is going to be in for a world of hurt, as they already have been, right?
Exactly. I got a feeling things are about to get a lot worse here in Canada. Right. But there are Trump-type conservatives waiting in the wings here.
Okay, good. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a time out, and when we come back...